Okay. Okay, I think we are live and I'm audible. Am I audible? Yeah, I'm audible. So, hi guys, and welcome to hi Rakesh. So, welcome to another session. So, today is the lecture 3 on AWS services. So, we have been talking about the various AWS services and how to use them and how they benefit us in our application. And this is a part of the backend web development series that we are running. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm Soham Mukherjee. I'm a software developer at Google. Before that, for 1 year, I've worked with CodeNation. I have been into ICBC regionals 2 times, 2017 and 19, and I'm also a 6-star coder at CodeShare. What will I be teaching you here? I'll be teaching you web backend, React.js, system design, cloud services, and data structures and algorithms. Now, yes. So I'm doing fine. I think you are also doing fine. So yes, if you want to get a free sample test paper for Relevel, you can use my coupon code Soham10 and you will get a free sample test paper. Now, talking about Relevel, what exactly Relevel is? So there are often candidates who don't have proper degree or proper network that's needed to land them jobs. Like they might want they want a job in, let's say, a backend development profile, but they don't have a BTech, BE or MTech degrees, right? So they have different degrees, so that for that often they're not selected for interviews or something. Also, they might not have proper connections, and that's why it's very difficult for them to get referrals. And also it might happen that they're applying their resume is not very strong, so they're applying for hundreds of companies, but they're not getting shortlisted. So if you're such a candidate and if you believe that you have the skills to get into a good company, then Relevel is the perfect solution for you. What is Relevel? Relevel is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy that will help you find job. Now you will get the job based on your talent and skills and not based on what degree you have, what network connections you have, and these things. What are the benefits of taking the Relevel test? There are over 50 plus companies, including some top startups and unicorns who are hiring through Relevel. I'll name some of them here, like CodeNation, TopUp, Zoomcar, Cred, all the Misho. All these top companies are hiring through Relevel right now. There are over 1,000 plus job openings across the domain: backend development, front end development, and business development. Now you might think that the entire process is time cumbersome, it will take lots of time to complete, but that's not the case. Like, you have to complete all the rounds of the test within one single day, and the scores will be shared to you within a week, like not only with you but with the companies as well. And with Relevel, the best part is that the companies will be coming to you, and you don't have to hunt around for companies. Like, you don't have to search for companies or ask people for referral. Now, registration with Relevel is very easy. You can go to their website. The link is in the description below. So you can click on get hired. After that, you can select a test of your choice. Now, let's say we want to become a backend developer. So we can click on backend development test. And after that, book a slot for giving the test as per your convenience. Now, make sure you book the slots, like you are available for the entire day whenever you are booking the slot, because there will be multiple rounds of the test and you have to complete everything within one single day. And also the number of slots are limited, so make sure to book them fast. Let's say you want to appear for the D-level test 4 months from now, so just book it today for a date like 4 months from now. And that will help you prepare as well. Like, it will push you to prepare yourself, and also your slots will be confirmed. So it's a win-win situation. So just book it and then click on next. After that, you have to fill in the details for your admit card. Now here you can see that there is a section to enter referral code. You can use my referral code Soham10 and click on apply, and then click on create account. So what's the advantage of using my referral code? In the next section, you can see that you will get a dashboard like this, where you get a practice section where you can get some sample test papers, like what type of questions will be coming in. So you can download that for free if you are using my referral code. So make sure to use that and download your free sample test paper. Also, the entire process is completely free for you, so you don't have to worry about paying any money. And make sure to check Relevel out today. The link is in the description below, so go check it out. Also, if you haven't joined the Telegram channel, I would recommend you to do so, because like it always notifies whenever I'm coming live, what is the agenda for that day and these things. So it can be a, like, if you're not very active on YouTube, you can get a notification there about whenever I'm coming live. Also, if you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell icon so that you are notified whenever I'm coming live, in case you have missed the Telegram message. And also, if you haven't if you're liking the videos, make sure you like and share it with your friends as well, so that it benefits them. And with that, we'll start with today's agenda. But before that, let me know if you have any questions, anything that's on the top of your mind that I can help you with. Or otherwise, we'll start with today's agenda. That is, we'll be talking about EC2 instances and what exactly they are, how can we create them, how can we use them, and what can we do with them. So we'll be like doing everything live. So yeah, let me know if you have some doubts or if there's something I can help you with. Okay, I think you don't have any question. That's totally fine. Good. Okay, so we'll resume. Let's go. Cool. So EC2 is another service that's there in AWS. Like, if we get into the dashboard, we can see a screen. Like, although this is a small screen variant that we are seeing here, because my screen is right now it's smaller, like it's not in the full length. But when you go into the full length screen in your desktop, you will have a different view, but most of the things will remain the same. So if you see, like, you will get a dashboard like this. So how do you land to EC2? You just search EC2 under the services, just search for EC2. So EC2, and you will get virtual. So what are EC2s? EC2s are virtual servers in the cloud. So you can just click on this. So this will help you create some servers, right? Okay, now we see that we'll see some of the details here. Like, instances running is 0, dedicated hosts, there is no elastic IPs, and these things we are seeing. Okay, so let's go to instances. Okay, so there is one instance that is created. We can actually delete this. Let's just delete this or something. Terminate state. So I'm going to modify its disable API termination instance attribute. And okay, there is some attribute that is set, instance settings. And what is the attribute? Disable API termination. Okay, change termination protection, and let's disable this, and we can now delete this. So terminate instance, let's delete this up. Okay, okay, so it will continue in the background. We don't have to worry about this. So first thing that we'll learn about is how to create an instance. So what is EC2 again? It's a virtual server in cloud. What is a server? It's just a computer that's there somewhere, like, that is not owned by you, but you can use it to store or do some resource, like store some resources or do something, right? So it's just a server or a computer in the somewhere, like in a data center. Right. So first thing we'll learn is creating a EC2 instance. A EC2 instance is just a virtual server. It's a computer that's there, like that's owned by Amazon, and it's there somewhere, like in some data center, based on the region that you've specified. Like, we are in Mumbai, so it will be in a data center in Mumbai. But it is just a computer that's there, right? That's owned by Amazon. It's not owned by you. So we can go to launch instances. So what we have done, under this section, we'll see that launch instance is there. So we can go to launch instances. Now we can go into, like, what type of machine do we want, what type of image do we want. So we want a Ubuntu system. Let's say we want a Ubuntu system, because I think most of you will be familiar with Linux systems, and mostly Ubuntu, because it's the largest one. So we'll go with the Ubuntu system. But in case you are, like, more familiar with Windows Server, so you can go with Windows, or you can even go with Amazon Linux as well. Like, most of the things will be similar only. Or you can go in through other variants of Linux that are there. Like there's Debian, there's Ubuntu 18 is there. Then there are different other flavors that are there, so you can just try them. If you want OS, so you have OS instances as well. Sorry, OS, not OS, Mac OS instances as well. So whatever you want, you can have it, right? So let's say we want to go with a Ubuntu instance. So we'll go into Ubuntu server 20.04. Let's just create a server of this type, and it will be a 64-bit ARM or x86. Let's just have the default settings. So now we'll go into what type, like what are the different specs that you want. So if you see, there are multiple families, right? And each family has multiple instance types. Like there is micro instance, there's nano instance, there's small, there's medium, there's large, X large, 2X large, like this. How they are differing? If you see, they are differing with respect to memory and CPU and some of the network performance, IPv6 support, and these things, right? So if you see like a T2 large, 2X large will contain 8 vCPUs and 32 gigabytes of RAM, right? If you want more memory, right, if you want a bigger instance, you can go for C5 large or C5 9X large, where you have 36 vCPUs and 72 gigabytes of RAM. If you want more, you can go for opt for more, like you can have 96 vCPUs and 192 gigabytes of RAM, or even like more than that as well. Like you can just see around, like whatever is here. I think 244 gigabytes of RAM is also available with 36 vCPU, right? So you can go, like you can just like scale it up crazily, like whatever you want, like depending on your use case. So for us, we don't want a lot of things right now, because we are just in the trial phase. We just want to develop our features. We just want, like, we are the only users who will be using it, so we don't have to worry much about traffic and these things. So for that, I think like we are best suited for the free tier, like T2 micro with 1 vCPU and 1 gigabytes of RAM. Make sure that your application is not RAM intensive. Like if you're using a in-memory cache, which is not a good which is not good at all. I would never recommend you to use a in-memory cache. But like if you're using a in-memory cache, it might be like for some reasons you might be using in-memory cache, like for some reasons it might be suiting your needs. So if you're using those things, like if your memory usage is lot, then maybe 1 gigabytes of memory, or if your application is heavy, then maybe 1 gigabytes of memory might not be sufficient. So you might need to go into like a 4 gigabytes of RAM or 8 gigabytes of RAM, like but they will not be free. T2 micro is the only free instance that is available. So you have to pay some amount, but that will not be very large. So next we'll configure the instance details. So number of instances that we want to launch. So if you want, you can launch multiple instances parallelly. After that, what is the network? What is the VPC network? We have already discussed about VPC in the previous class when we were discussing about RDS. VPC is the virtual private cloud. It's kind of a subnet. It's not a subnet, it's just a network, private network that is created with, and you can place multiple resources within the private network, and they are separated from the outside world. Like they can communicate with each other, but they are separated from the outside world as it's a private network. So you can define, like obviously you can make it public, like some of the things publicly available, but you can like specify security groups and these things. So you have to tell what is the VPC where you want your resource to be. So we can go with the default one. Subnet, we don't have a preference, that's fine. Auto assign public IP, this is important. So auto assign public IP basically means that, do you want your instance to have a public IP address? What is the use case of a public IP address? So we know that there are two types of addresses, IP addresses, public and private. What is the private address? Private IP address is something that will help you identify within the same network. Like in this case, we have a VPC, which is the virtual private network that we have. In the VPC, they can identify each other with respect to their private IP address. But outside the VPC, like if we are trying to access from our computer, let's say I type in the IP address in my browser, I won't be able to access because I'm not in the same network. Only the resources in the same network can access each other or talk to each other using the private IP address. To be able to access publicly, like if you want your resource to be accessible publicly, or if you want your EC2 instance to be accessible publicly, you have to give it a public IP address. So the public IP address will be a identifier to the rest of the world, the internet basically, right? So do we want a public IP address? We do want a public IP address, so we can click on enable. Hostname type, we can just skip this. These things, okay. IAM role, there's no IAM role. We don't need a IAM role right now, I think. Shutdown behavior, okay. These things. Any other thing that we need to configure? I don't think we need to configure anything else. Domain directory, that's fine. Enable CloudWatch, we don't want that as well right now. Okay, I think these are fine. Okay, next is add storage. So here it will tell you what is the storage that you want to add. Now it is different, right? We saw that the instance had 1 gigabytes of RAM. This storage is different. This is a HDD or a SSD that you want to choose. So we have there is SSD chosen here, general purpose SSD GP2. So you can choose SSD, IOPS SSD or magnetic drives as well. So let's go with the default one, but you can specify the size here as well, like what is the size of the SSD that you want. That's basically the hard disk, right? SSD or the hard disk, right? So this is a different, this is not equal to your memory, that is RAM. So we'll have the default settings, like we'll have 8 gigabytes of SSD, which is a GP2 general purpose SSD, and that's fine. And we have IOPS of 100 by 3000. So you can see that baseline 3 IOPS, minimum of 100 IOPS, burstable, and these things. Okay. So delete on termination, yes, that's also fine. We'll add tags. Okay, add tags. Again, tags are kind of like identifiers to your resource. So you can add like, let me add a owner to this. That owner is Soham. That I own this resource, right? Next we'll configure security groups. Now this is important. Why is this important? This is important because this security groups, what are security groups? They are kind of a layer that is there that will prevent some traffic, right? That prevents the traffic. So here you have to specify the rules. Security group basically contains the rules by which the firewall or whatever is there that will allow the traffic or it will not allow the traffic, right? So what, let's say I want the traffic to be like I want SSH access, right? I want SSH access. So SSH, so we'll create a new security group. Let's say I want SSH access, that is TCP port is 22, SSH happens in port 22. So I have to make this publicly available. So I'll make it anywhere, that is it is publicly available, because I want to SSH from my system to this instance. So I will be exposing this. Let's say I am making a Django, like I am running a Django application in my EC2 instance. Can you tell what is the port in which a Django application runs? What is the port in which a Django application will run? It's a very simple question. You I'm pretty sure you can answer this, but yeah, what's the port in which a Django application will run? 800. I think you missed a zero, but that's fine. Yeah, yes, 8000. 8000 is the default port, but yes, you can configure it to any port if you want in 8080, if you want in 3000, anything, as long as it is not conflicting with something, right? So it will work. But yes, so let's say we are running on 8000 only. So for that, we'll allow a custom TCP rule, and port range will be, let's say 8000, right? Let's expose 8000 to 8080 or 8100, right? Let's just expose all of them. Basically any application that's running in this range of port 8000 to 8100, you can access those applications publicly. Access means you can basically, like, you can send requests to those applications, you can send connections to those applications. What do I mean by connections? Like when a Django application is running, let's say in port 8080, if I type in my browser IP:8080, that will be hitting the Django application. If I don't write this rule, if I don't allow this rule, then it will not even go to the Django application. It will be blocked by the firewall. So it will basically, security group is a set of firewall rules that will control the traffic that is coming in or that is going out. Okay, so let's make it anywhere as well, and that's fine. So review and launch. So I think these settings are correct. So launch. Now when you go for launch, you have to create a key pair, right? So what is a key pair? Key pair is needed for it contains a security, like it contains security keys that will help you SSH into the instance. Like if you want to connect to your instance remotely, like let's say I want to, what we'll do today itself, I want to connect to this instance from my computer, from my personal computer, right? So for that I need to have some security in place, otherwise anyone can connect. So for these reasons we have key pairs, right? They will, anyone that owns the key pair will be able to SSH into the instance. Can we specify only a set of IPs to allow SSH connection to this EC2 instance? Yes, I think yes. Means not I think, yes, you can. Like you had, we had specified anywhere, right? So there you can specify a custom rule that this is the IP set of IPs that you want, like that you want, that you would want to allow SSH from. So you can do that as well. That's actually, that's the good way to do things. But again, like I don't want to do like that, so let's just go ahead with this. So we'll create a new key pair, and what is the key pair name that I want to give? Let's say I want to give a key pair name of Soham. Why am I not doing that way? Like why am I not restricting to my IP address? Because I would have the key pair, so that's why I'm just restricting it. Okay, so download key pair, you have to download this key pair. Now this is important. So we have downloaded this. Now let's launch the instance. Okay. So, okay, your instance is now launching. If we go into this, you will see that it is in a pending state. It is a T2 micro instance, and you can see all the details like key value name, key name is Soham. Key name is the key pair name that is attached to this, right? So that is Soham. So you have this. Okay, meanwhile we have created a key pair, right? We have created a key pair. So let's just go into downloads, and we do have the key pair, right? So we'll see we have a Soham, not this one. So we have a soham.pem file that is there, right? So this is what we will be using when we want to SSH. And this basically will help us, like this is the this is kind of the authentication layer that's there that will prevent others from SSHing into the instance. Okay, so okay, it's running, I believe. Let's quickly filter this as well. Where is this one? Okay, we'll select this instance. So it is in pending state. It's running. Okay, it's running now. If you see, it has a public IPv4 address. It also has a private IPv4 address. What is the private address? It is basically for connection within the same network, within the same VPC. If you want to connect resources, right? So that you can use the private IPv4 address, and it will do a internal routing. When you use a public IPv4 address, it will be using it's like available to everyone in the world. Basically it is available on internet. It is a public address, so anyone can connect to this instance, like provided they have all the necessary details. So you have public IPv4 DNS, these things, host name is there, these things are there. So you can see all the details that are there. You can go into, like if you want, you can go into security as well, where you will get the security group that has been created and what are the various things. So we have 88,000 to 8,100 with anywhere, and then we have port 22 exposed as well. So you can see these things, you can edit these things as well, right? Then there's networking and these things. You can just play around with these things, but yeah, like this is what you get, right? Now there are multiple ways to connect to this EC2 instance. One of the ways will be just go to actions and connect. Okay, connect, and the username will be Ubuntu, so we can just connect. So it's connecting to the instance, and yes, here we are. So you get a simple console. Like you don't get as it is a server. In server you don't have GUI, like graphic user interfaces. You just have consoles, so that it is not heavy. Like why do we not have GUI? Because we don't need, we want the servers to be fast and efficient in what they do. So let's say we load a Windows 10 GUI version. In that case it will be not like it will be consuming a lot of RAM as well, and those things, right? So we don't want to compromise on those things. So we generally, like servers generally have only like terminal screens, and they don't have any GUI. So you generally, like, there might be some servers which has GUI like that allows you to like connect to the instance to be used as a GUI instance, but not like not most servers that you, not application servers at least, right? So here you get a terminal screen where you see like Ubuntu at the rate IP 172.3.1 like that, whatever is there. Okay, so what we'll do here is okay, so yes, we can just browse around, like we can do ls and there's nothing, so we can create some things if you want. You can you in fact have Python installed, I believe. Okay, we don't have Python 3. Probably we don't have Python 3. Okay, we have Python 3, right? We have Python 3 installed. So some of the things will be pre-installed, right? So it's just a server. It has Ubuntu running on it, and there is no GUI. It's only command line, so you can do everything. It's just a computer like your own computer, but you have to control everything from the command line. You cannot use the GUI, graphic user interface. Okay. So okay, we have, so this is how we connect to an instance. If you want to connect, like if you don't want to connect like this, there is another way. You can connect from your local machine, like like just in case if you have a bad internet connection, or if this screen is not loading for you or some reason, like you don't want to do it like this, or if you're comfortable from your local instance, then you can SSH as well. So let's do that. So what we'll do, SSH -i. So what was the file name? Soham.pem. So let's write that, soham.pem, and then Ubuntu at the rate. So Ubuntu at the rate, we have to go to the instance details. So let's go to the details again. So we have the DNS. We can use the IP as well, or the DNS as well. Let's just use the DNS. So Ubuntu at the rate this, and let's enter. Okay, now it will ask you to do you want to do you want to confirm the authenticity of the host? We'll click on yes, and it is adding, and see we are also now we are here in here as well, right? So we are connected to this instance. Little late, but can we specify the OS as well, such as Ubuntu, Red Hat? Yes, we can specify that as well. Like that was done in the first only. So when you go into instances, let's create an instance. We'll try to create one. So here when you click on launch instance, you will get various options here, like what is the image that you want, what is the base image, basically the OS that you want. Let's say you want Amazon Linux 2, so you can take this AMI. If you want Mac OS, then you can take these 12.0 Big Sur or Monterey. If you want Red Hat, you can take Red Hat. If you want Ubuntu, you can take Ubuntu. If you want SUSE, you can take SUSE. If you want Windows, you can take Windows Server. So it's completely like whatever you want, you can have that. Like whatever is available, obviously, you can have among them. Okay, so we have successfully SSH'd into this one, right? The machine. Now, if we do ls, we'll not see anything. So let's do something. Let's maybe add a folder. mkdir hello world. Hello, let's say mkdir hello, and if I do ls, I have hello here. Let's say if I have it here as well. So if I do ls now, I'll have hello here as well, right? I have hello here as well. So it has been created. Okay, let me just clear the console and do ls. Okay, so if you see, we have hello here as well, right? So basically we are connected to the same machine. This is proving that fact. Okay, so yeah, that's, let me know if you have some doubts, then we'll go into the next part of this. If you have any doubts until here. If you have any doubts until here, you can tell me. Otherwise, we'll go into the next part. Got it. Okay, good. Okay, so now in the server you can do anything, right? You can do anything. Like let's say you want to, you have what you have written some bots, right? You have written some bots that will help you, like let's say you have written some web crawlers that will crawl the web pages and gather some important information. So you can run that on your server, just run that code in your server, and you can you that will not be running on your computer. So you can, like let's say you need a lot of specs for running that, and your computer does not have those specs, so you can just take a bigger instance in the cloud and run that, and then just delete the instance. So that's how it is useful, right? But in our case, we'll be deploying our application. So we'll be deploying one of the Django applications that we have created, and we'll be trying to connect to it and see if like if we are able to connect to it from our machine, or like anyone else is able to connect to it. Like we'll try for you to connect as well to that, so that like we can test that thing as well, right? So next step is choosing one of our projects and uploading it into GitHub, because we would need to clone that. Okay, so we'll be using this. What was this application? Django to do app. So it was Django and then to do app. Do we have some to do app here? Django projects and test project. Not this one. Sample project. Not this one as well. Mini project is not this as well. When did we create the to do app? I'm also not sure. Sample project. I think this one was this one. Yes, it has a git ignore file. Okay, I think this is it. So to do app and sample project, and to do app and sample project. Okay, awesome. So what we'll do is we'll have to do a few more things here. So let's go back cd dot dot cd sample project. Okay, cd sample project, and what we'll do here, we'll do one thing, that is pip freeze and requirements.txt. So what does pip freeze requirements.txt, like this pip freeze, then greater than symbol, then requirements.txt, what does this do? This basically, like, so you have created a virtual environment, you have installed some of the dependencies. Now here is the problem, right? Here is the problem that we are now going to we are going to deploy our application in a new machine. How do we install the exact dependencies? So for that, as we have created a virtual environment, our environment is isolated, so we have only those dependencies installed that were used in our project. So when we do pip freeze requirement.txt, it basically takes out those from the dependencies, it takes out the information about all the dependencies and creates a requirement.txt file out of it. What is the advantage of a requirement.txt file? It will help you install the dependencies in the other machine easily. So if we see here, we have a requirement.txt file, and all the dependencies that were there, like Django REST Nox, Django REST framework, everything comes here, right? So we can just commit this. So let's just commit this as well. Git add, let's add it for now. Git commit -m, let's say first not first commit, added requirement.txt, added requirements.txt. Okay, it's changed. Also probably we don't want to go for the migrations. We can delete the migrations as well. So let's just delete the migrations. Is there something in init.py? No, so we'll delete the migration as well. Git commit -m, remove migration. Okay, now git push origin. I hope that the branch is mastered. So we'll push the changes, right? Okay, so we have created a requirements.txt, and this will help us install the same dependencies in our server. Okay, so git push origin master, we have pushed this into master, and we'll see here if we have the latest ones. So remove migration, the latest commits we have. So we'll be we'll be cloning this, right? We'll be cloning this here in our instance. So we'll try from a local SSH instance only. So git clone, and here we paste this. Okay, so it's done. So we can do a ls, and we see a Django. So cd Django. Okay, ls, and we have everything, right? So if you want, you can create a virtual environment here as well. So, but I think we have to install that. So let's just install that as well. Cd pip3 install virtual env. Okay, pip install virtual env. Okay, pip is also near, not there. Okay, sudo apt install python pip. Okay, do we have python 3? How do we have? We don't have pip. Nice. Okay, python 3 is there, pip is not there. Python 3 pip is not installing as well. But is referred to by another package. This may mean that the package is missing, has been obsolete, or is available only from another source. Why is it that? Is it really okay? This is one more problem of this. Okay, where is my mouse? Okay. One more problem of this is like you have to refresh regularly, because it just disconnects, like it just freezes abruptly if you are not there for a long time or sometime. So pip 3, I think we don't have pip 3. Okay, install pip 3 ubuntu 20.04. we want for 20.04. so let's just see how to install pip 3 python 3 pip ubuntu. Probably we'll get something here. So acha, we have to do update, so maybe that's why it was failing. Cool. So sudo apt update. Let's just update all the dependencies, all the things that are there. Okay, it's done. So let's quickly check now. Pip 3 is there? No, not there. Sudo python 3 pip, and now it is done. So it was a problem of the dependencies that like update was not working, so it wasn't updated, so that's why it was breaking. Cool. Now it's working. So we have pip 3 finally. Meanwhile, you can let me know if you have any questions, anything that you like you didn't understand, or anything that I can help you with. Okay, so stuck, and we are also stuck until this is finished actually. Any questions that you have, any like if you are not sure about what is the use case of public IP, or what is private IP, public versus private IP, anything like anything that you think ये क्या बता रहे हो? So we are learning how to use EC2 instances. So EC2 instances are basically servers in the cloud. Like servers in the cloud means basically they are computers that are owned by Amazon and in some Amazon data center. Basically in Mumbai data center it is there, and we are basically creating an instance for us, a computer for us, and we are then connecting to that computer, and then we'll try to deploy our application into that computer. Okay, so pip 3 is ready, I believe. So okay, so pip install virtual env. Okay, it's done. Nice. So we'll create a virtual env pen, and Okay, virtual env not found. We installed virtual env, right? Python 3 virtual env. Okay, let's install this as well. Virtual env pnv. Okay, we are not able to create a virtual environment. No virtual leave. Let's not create one. So ls we have Django. So cd Django. Now ls we have requirements.txt. So we'll just install them. Keep install -r requirement.txt. We'll just install all the dependencies. So it's installing. Okay. I think everything is done. Okay, everything is installed and perfectly done. So what we'll do next? Python manage.py. First thing we'll do is make migrations. Okay, first of all, let's see the application name. Python manage.py make migrations to do app. We have Python 3. So Python 3 migrations are done. Python 3 manage.py migrate created. If we do ls, we'll see the database as well. It's a SQLite database. DB is SQLite 3. Now let's wait. Let's do the thing that we were waiting for. Python 3 manage.py run server. Okay. Python 3 manage.py run server. We'll add one more here 0.0.0.0. We have to give a port as well. So 8080. Let's start at 8080. Okay, so let's now try connecting to this. Okay, how can we connect to this? So do we have a test endpoint? Let's see if we have a test endpoint here. So we'll go into to do app and views.py. So we have a hello endpoint, right? So we can just try from our browser. We'll copy the public IP, that is this one, :8080. Let's see. Okay, now see, it is connecting disallowed host. That's fine. So we'll just go into what was the path. Let's quickly check the path as well. So we'll come into sample project urls.py. So it was to do slash and then urls.py to do slash. Okay, it's to do slash. Cool. So to do slash disallowed host host header. Oh, okay, you may, okay, it's not added. Cool. So basically the problem here is, if we go into settings.py, where is settings.py? Sample project settings.py. Here the host allowed host is not there, right? So we have to allow, let's set allowed host to everything and now push it. So git add dot git status git commit -m updated allowed hosts list and git push origin master. Git push origin master. Okay. So we have pushed the changes and now we have to pull the changes. So we'll come here, we'll stop our application and we'll pull the changes. So git pull origin master. So it's pulled. Now what we'll do, we'll again start our process. So Python 3 manage.py run server 0.0.0.0:88. So it started. Now we can try connecting again. So let's go. Yes. Now if you see, we are getting the message, hello, welcome to To Do App. Now one thing that you can try is you can just try it on your computer as well. So let me know in the chat, like try to connect to this address 65.0.11.22 and port is 8080 and then to do /to do. Try to connect to this endpoint and let me know if this is working for you as well. Let me know if this is working for you as well. All right. 65.0.11.22:8080. Can you teach in Java? Not right now. Right now we are almost towards the end of this course, so not right now. Let me know if this is working for you or if it is not working for you. Just try to hit this endpoint 65.0.11.22:8080. Anyone is trying? Working. Cool. So that means what has happened exactly here? You have written some code, right? You have written some code. Like, why do we need to do this? Like, first question that might come to your mind, why do we even need to do this, right? There is a very genuine use case for this. What? You are working in a team, right? You are working in a team. Let's say you are the developer, there are other engineers as well. There is the front end engineer, there is the quality tester, like QA engineer. There are multiple engineers, right? You are developing the services. Now you should also make sure, like, once you're done with your development or once you're done with some of the parts, you want to send it for QA as well as to the UI team as well, so that they can integrate with that. You have to provide them with the code somewhere. You have to provide them with the services somewhere. One way of doing this is just giving them the GitHub, right? Giving them the GitHub, telling them, hey, just download this. Maybe you will add a readme.md where you tell how to set that up locally. You expect them to set up locally, right? You can do that. You can do that a bit better. Like, you can set up a Docker, like you can set up Docker as well. And if you don't know about Dockers, don't worry. We'll be learning about Docker as well later on. Like within in this month only, we'll be learning about Docker. Once we talk about deployments, basically. So there will be okay. So you might set up Docker. You can create Docker images and these things, and then you can ask them to set up. So that will ease the task a bit. But again, that's not ideal way of doing. Like, you are just telling them to install and use it, right? What other way you can do is you can take a EC2 instance, because this is not a production code, right? This is just for Swagger documentation. Yes, you will give the Swagger documentation, that's for sure. You have to give them a Swagger documentation. But if they want to integrate, they should at least have some mock APIs or some working APIs, right? Otherwise, how will they integrate? Like, you can at least you have to create some mock APIs, like mock input output, or you have to create the actual APIs, and that they will integrate with the Swagger documentation. They will only know what is the schema, right? They will only know what are the APIs that are there, what is the request, what is the response, and they will design accordingly. But their code will not work, right, unless they actually integrate to the backend, and unless they actually send requests, their code will not work. Or they cannot set up network calls until actually you give them they make some network calls for the data. So for that reason, what you have to do is you have to make the services available to them. One way we have talked about is sharing with them the GitHub or sharing with them the Docker image and telling them to set up on their local environment. That's one way, and that might be good sometimes, but it's not the way you should do, because you are making assumptions like they know how to set up, or you are making assumption that they have Docker installed in their system, or they know how Docker works, or those things, right? You are making these assumptions. So and you should not ask them to install anything. That's not a good thing. Like, you should never ask someone to install something for like, unless it is very very much needed, unless it is mandatory, you should try doing things yourself. What is the other way around? You can create a small ec2 instance, because as it is only for integration and for testing, you don't need, by testing I don't mean load testing, I just mean normal functionality testing. If the functionality is working perfectly, or if there are some edge cases missing, so just assume that the quality team will just try out a few simulations on your application. So you want to provide them with the apis or the application code, right? How can you do that? You can take a small ec2 instance, you can deploy that, and you can have a public ip address attached to that. So now, as I have connected, as you guys have also connected, just assume we are in different teams. I am sitting in some place, you are sitting in some place, but you are able to access my application that I have created, right? You are able to access the application that I have created. So that's why, that's basically what I'm trying to say here. Like, you just deploy it, you just upload, or you just this is called kind of, this is similar to deployment. So you just deploy the code on a ec2 instance, you just start the service there, and just voila, like, your quality team, UI team, everyone can connect to your application and get access to your code. Now whenever you make some improvements, let's say you are designing new apis, whenever you design them, you can just re-upload them and restart the service or whatever, like auto restart. If there is auto restart, good enough. If there is no auto restart, you can restart the service, and they can get the updated code as well. So that will make the development process much faster and much easier as well. So because there will be complete separation of concerns, like the UI team does not have any idea about what code is there. They just have the Swagger documentation where they know what is the request, what is the response, and they can focus on the UI development completely. The QA team also does not have any idea about what code is there or how to deploy the code and these things. They just have some endpoints, they will make some requests, they will test out if they're working fine, they will test out the happy paths and these things. Cool. So that's what is the use case of this, right? So we have deployed this is working fine. Okay, this is working fine. Yes. Okay, so let's do one more thing here. Let's try out a few things. So let's say I do like this. It should not work, but it might work as well. Okay. So what I've done is I have started the service at 127.0.0.1. Now let's see if we can connect to this. Let's do a refresh. See, it cannot be reached. Why it cannot be reached? Because there is to outside world, there is no service that is running at port 8080, because the service has started in local host, right? It has started for local host. So no service outside from the outside world can get access to this, because for them it is not even running. They don't have access to this. So to have that access, you actually have to start it at 0.0.0.0. So now if once we start it at 0.0, we can just go to this and we'll get hello, welcome to the to-do app, right? We can test it out using Postman as well. So let's open Postman. Meanwhile, okay, so it will work. It will work. Just assume it will work. Cool. So yes, that's about how do you deploy, right? Yes, we have a few more things to cover here, but let me know if you have some questions until now. Like, that is how you deploy your code or your application in ec2 instance. So that is like, it is the ideal way, like it is the good way to good thing to deploy in EC2s when you just want it internally, to be used internally for by the QA team or by the UI team, like during the development phase. And during the production phase, obviously you cannot use EC2. I'll tell that as well why, but yeah. Cancel, will just don't save, don't save, don't save, and don't save. We'll create a new one, get request. One more thing that we can do is, we are using the IP, right? We can also use the public IP DNS as well. We can use this as well, because this is kind of looking nice. EC2, like kind of dot something .com, so it kind of looks nice. So you, if you want, you can use this as well. So obviously we'll have to make a HTTP request to this endpoint. Now port is HT88T, and then we have the to do endpoint. So let's try this. Send. Yes, now we get hello, welcome to do app, right? So we get this response. Okay. So first thing, like first question that I have for you, why do you think this is not the ideal way of deploying when you are going for a production environment? Like if your code is a production code, why can't you just take a big EC2 and deploy there? Just take a big EC2, right? Just take a C5 8x large instance or C5 16x large instance with let's say multiple, like 40 cores of, or 50 cores of, 32 cores of CPU, 80 gigs of RAM. It's lot. It's a large amount of RAM. But why it is not suited for production environment? We have already discussed this, so I'm expecting that you can answer. Anyone? No one. We have discussed this, right? We have talked about horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, these things, I believe. So what we are essentially doing, we are actually taking bigger instance, right? We are just taking a bigger instance. Now why is that not better? Because it has scalability issues. Although it's good for certain amount of traffic, but when you are actually scaling, there will be hardware limitations. Like you won't have instances bigger than a certain amount. Initially it is very good, like right, like it can easily handle maybe lakhs of users, because 80 gigs of RAM is not not less, right? Or 32 vCPUs not less. So obviously you can support a lot of users, but again it does not have scalability. So it will fail when the number of users is has risen a lot. So that's why it is not the way you should do. Okay. For production environment, for production, how do we deploy? We'll be learning that later, not today. We'll be learning about so there are two ways. Actually there are multiple ways, but yeah, like some of the common ways will be either using, if you're using AWS, you can use ECS. If you are, or you can use a common environment, like you can use something called Kubernetes, which is available with which is right now available with all the cloud services, be it Google Cloud or be it AWS. So with all the cloud services, you can have a integration with Kubernetes, so you can use that as well. And we'll be learning these things as well. When we talk about deployments, we'll be learning about ECS and Kubernetes and all these things. Okay, so that's there. But again, like there is another problem here, right? There is another problem here. What is the problem? What I'll do now, let's say my server has somehow, like servers can fail. See, servers are just computers. So if your computer can fail, obviously the server can also fail, and also the server is running 24/7, so it's bound, like it can also fail easily, right? So let's say the server somehow fails and goes down, right? The server somehow fails and goes down. Uh, how do we do that? For now, just to have that, stop the instance. So let's just stop the instance. So this is basically, we are trying to mock a server failure. So the server has stopped. Okay, the server has stopped, or the server has freezed and we have to force stop the server, something like that, right? So it is stopping now. Let's wait for it to stop. And we can also give a name here as well. Like let's say this is a Soham instance. I'll give it a name as Soham instance. Or let's say our application, right? It is our application. Application. So we can give it a name like this here. Application server. It's our application server. So we can give it a name like this as well. Okay, it has stopped. Let's restart. Okay, stopped, right? Now see one thing, public IPv4 address is gone. Public IPv4 DNS is gone. Private is there also. Let's restart the instance. So we'll instance state and start instance. What do you think will happen? Like, I have already given a lot of hint here, like, but yeah, like what will happen? Like, what is the problem am I talking about here? Anyone? What do you think will happen here? Okay, we don't have any takers. That's fine. Let's refresh and find out. Okay. What is the IPv4 address, public address? It's 3.108.220.68. What was it before? 65.0.11. If we run this now like this, it will not work because this is not the IPv4 address anymore. Also, we have to connect again. So if you see, we have also disconnected, like we have got disconnected, and here also we have to connect to it again, like using the new IP. So let's take the new IP here. Where is the new IP? We'll just close this. We are anyways not using this. So new IP is this one. Let's have this here. Connect. Yes. And we are connected. Now we do a ls. We see that the code is here intact. So that has not failed. But that is because that's stored in the hard disk, right? So Django, and we'll start the service. So Python 3 manage.py run server 0.0.0.0 colon 8080. Okay. Yes, now we have started the service. Now we can just go to this address and check if it is working. So we'll go to this address, and yes, it's working. Right now it is working. So what was the problem here? The problem here was when the server is failing, the IP address is also changing. So let's assume there are some server failures can happen anytime. So every time the server fails, you have to notify the UI team that the address has changed. You have to notify the uh, 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 quality team as well that the server IP has changed, so that they can test in the new IP, right? And that might not be a good idea. Like let's say you have multiple clients, right? You have multiple client applications, so you have to change the code. Like you have to change, although it's the let's say it has been declared as a variable in a common file, but again, like you have to change it in all the places, right? So that might not be an ideal thing to do. So you should make sure that it doesn't go when it is like stopped. So for that, what we can do is, so if we go here, we can see a few more things. There is something called elastic IPs, right? We can have a elastic IP attached to this. So allocate elastic IP. So Amazon pool IP port address, and we don't want accelerator. Let's create a tag that its owner is me, owner is Soham, and let's allocate elastic. Okay, so we have allocated a public IP address. Now we can attach it to our instance as well, right? We can attach this to our instance. So if we go here, instance state, and let's do one thing, auto networking attached to network interface. Okay, I think we have to networking attach network interface, and we have this network. Okay, one thing, I think we have to attach from the, I'm not sure from where we have to attach, but let's see. I will go to elastic IP, we'll select this, and action and associate elastic IP address to our instance. Yes, choose instance application server, and that's fine. To be reassociated, associate. Let's associate. We don't want it to reassociate for now. So we have associated with the instance. Now I think it will have the IP elastic. So yes, it has the elastic IP address if you see. Now let's try to access from this endpoint, right? So let's see if this is working actually. So we'll try to access from the elastic IP. So see, it is still working with the elastic IP also. It is still working. What we can do right now is we can just stop the instance now again. We'll just stop the instance again. Successfully stopped. Although it hasn't stopped, we'll just try running. Okay, it's stopping, so we'll wait for it to stop. Stopping. Okay, it stopped, I believe. So if we come here, stops, right? It stopped. Now if we refresh, okay, so see, it still has the elastic IP address attached to this, right? So if we now start the instance again, the elastic IP address will not change. So that helps us, that prevents that prevents basically like changing of the IP address repeatedly, right? That prevents that thing. So the IP address will not change repeatedly. So that's good, because you don't have, like, if your instance fails somehow, you don't have to worry about like informing the other teams that it has changed, or it will not be a lot of work for them as well. So you can just relax. Cool. So it's running, and now we'll use the elastic IP to SSH as well. So I believe how we are here. I think my this has also frozen somehow. So what I'll do here, I'll create a new one and I'll just get rid of this. So cd downloads and ssh minus I soham.pem and ubuntu @ and now I'll use the IP. Okay, yes, I want to authenticate permanently added host. We'll see ls, we'll go into Django. Okay, so we have started this. Now if we go to this one, so if we run this again, see, it is still running, right? So the IP address hasn't changed, so that's why it's still running. So it's good. So what we can do now, okay, that is done. Okay, that part is done. Next, what we'll talk about is load balancers, right? So what is load balancer? what is the load balancer? So let's say you have multiple resources, right? You have multiple resources in front of you. For now, let's assume EC2s, right? So you have multiple EC2s in front of you, and all of them are serving your application, your Django application. Now what you want is, you have lots of users coming in, so you want the traffic to be automatically redirected to automatically redirected according to maybe how much traffic they're handling, but they should be automatically redirected to one of the 4 servers, right? So how do we do that? To do that, we need something called load balancer. So load balancer is a it's a application that basically redirects traffic across multiple servers. It redirects traffic across multiple servers. Does it just redirect traffic like as is, like it, or does it do something more? It actually does a lot of things. It actually checks, it does health check. A load balancer does health check whether a target is healthy or not, like whether a server is healthy or not. And if it is not healthy, it will not redirect any traffic to that. Also it might so it also does many more things, like it checks how much CPU usage is happening in each of the servers, how much network through throughput is there, how many connections are there, how many active connections are there with each server, and based on that it decides which server to send the request to. So it always balances the load properly across all the 4 different servers, right? So there is always a balance of load. It's not like one of the servers is getting a lot of load, one of the servers is not getting any load. It will always balance the load properly by taking by considering all the factors, like how much RAM is remaining, how much CPU is remaining, how many active connections are there, and everything, right? So that's how it does the job. So basically it will help you balance the traffic across multiple servers. So how do we create a load balancer in EC2? So we'll come into that. So we do have a load balancer here. So we'll just use that. But before that, we have to have a target group. So we'll go into target groups. Okay. For now, what we can do is we can detach the elastic IP. So let's just delete this one. Deassociate and release. So we have released the elastic IP. So this will let's just quit from here, or it has again frozen, so we'll just be okay with this. Okay, so we'll go into the instances. I think we have this, we don't want to anyways SSH right now, so we have a new public IP attached to this, right? Anyways, so there's no more elastic IP there, so that's why. Okay, now let's say we first of all we have to do one thing. We have to create a new instance. Otherwise, like, there's no point of creating a load balancer. We can create one with one instance also, we can create a load balancer, but there's no point, right? So we'll create one more instance, right? How we can create one more duplicate instance? Can we create one more from here? Actions and instance, launch instances from template. Okay, we don't have that. Okay, we have to create a template out of this. That's not needed right now. Okay, we'll just create an instance, new instance. So we'll create a T2 micro. One, yes, enable. Any other thing that's needed from my end? I don't think so. So storage tags, let's give it a tag of owner. Those who have missed creating, like, creation of a EC2 instance, you can like just see it right now as well. Configure details, here we can use our existing one. So we have this one created, and we can just use this and launch, and we can use a key value pair, which is the one that we created, Soham RSA. I acknowledge launch instances. Okay, it is launching, and let's wait for this to launch. Because we have to set up our code, application code as well here, so we have to wait for this to complete. But meanwhile, if you have any doubts, you can let me know. If you have any doubts that I can help you with while we are waiting for this. Oh, it's running. Awesome, it's done. Okay, what we'll do is we'll connect to this. So let's add this, and we'll go to connect to this. So cd downloads ssh minus I soham dot pem ubuntu at the rate, and we'll give yes, and yes, we are in. So we'll do a ls. We don't have anything, so we have to clone our repository. So for that, we'll go into our repository, we'll copy this and we'll clone it here. So git clone and this. Cool. Ls, we have Django, so cd Django. Also, we have to have pip as well. So we can have pip as well. So how do we have pip? We have to run sudo apt get update. So let's update it quickly. And one thing that's interesting here, like all the EC2s have very high speed internet, right? So see, like it might take a lot of time in your machine, but see how fast it has completed here. So sudo apt install python 3 pip. We can install pip as well like this. And once we have installed pip, we can just install all the dependencies. Okay, python 3 pip, and now we'll run cd Django and pip install everything minus all requirement.txt. So it will quickly install all of them, and done. Now we can just start our service. Python manage.py run server 0.0.0.0 : 8080 python 3. We have to apply migrations as well. So one problem here, the database is local database, so that's not a good thing that you should do. But again, like we don't need a database right now, we just start trying things out. So maybe a good idea here will be to use the AWS RDS instance, so it will be a shared database. So python 3 manage.py make migrations, and python manage.py migrate. And then you can start your run server. Cool. So we have connected to the first instance. Let's connect to a second instance as well. So how do we connect to a second instance? We have to go into instance details, instances, and we have our application server running here. So we'll connect to this. So let's connect to this as well. cd downloads ssh minus I soham.pem and ubuntu at the rate this thing. So we'll do a yes here permanently, yes, and ls cd Django and cleared, and python 3 manage.py run server. I think it's not, it will not work because I think the server is already running .0:8080, or is it? Yes, port is already in use, so it is already running. So we have to see ps minus aux grep. Let's see if we can find something like this. 8080, it's running. What is the process id? Sudo pkill -9, and the process id is, which one is the process id? I'm not sure. I think 36176 is the process id. 36176. Okay, let's now see what's happening. Okay, it is still running. So I think the other one was the process ID 44888. Okay, it's still running somehow. Which one? Sudo kill minus kill 444 no such process. Okay, 36176. 36176. Okay, it's also not there. Cool. Let's see if we can start our process now. I'm not sure if it has been killed or not. Okay, it's already in use, so it's not getting killed. Man, PS. PS. How do we see like what is the output? It's given here. Format. Okay. Let's see. Kill process in Ubuntu. How do I kill a process? Kill minus sudo kill PID. Sudo kill PID. What is the output of PS minus AUX output? How is it given? PS output explained. Or yeah, hackerman and host on Gitpod. Is Gitpod okay, Gitpod. Yeah. Hack Gitpod is good. काफी दिनों से Gitpod यूज नहीं किया. PID 1 सेकंड वाला फील्ड PID है, I guess. Okay, सेकंड वाला फील्ड PID है. Cool. Let's quickly check our response. Okay, 849 was the PID. So kill sudo kill -9 and 849. But is PID तो लग नहीं रहा मेरे को ये चीज. Anyways, okay, it's killed. Awesome. It was the PID indeed. Cool. Okay, but yeah, फिर भी use पे है क्या? Okay, it's not killed. Lol. GG. Okay, let's just start in a different server, like different port maybe. We'll just start in 8000. Let it run. And here also we'll start in 8000 because नहीं तो problem हो जाएगा, दोनों में एक साथ करना है. So we can just remove this and start in 8000. And yes, so both of them are running in port 8000. Now what we'll do here, we'll just go into instance. We'll just go into where is that? Yes, target group. So we'll create a target group out of this. Now target group will be, target type will be instances because we'll be targeting instances. Now target group name, let's call it something like application target group. So application target group. And what is the port where you want to connect? So 8000 is the port where we want to connect. And HTTP, like HTTP or HTTPS, what do you want traffic? Let's go for HTTP only for now. And VPC is okay, and version is okay. HTTP health check. Health check will be what will be the health check endpoint? It will be to-do slash, right? To-do slash, I believe. Yes, it should be to-do slash. So advanced health check settings. Acha, we don't need these things. We don't need to configure anything else. Okay, tags. We'll give a tag that owner, I'm the owner of this. So owner will be Soham. and we'll continue. Next. Okay, to do, okay, health check begins here, so we'll give a slash as well, and then to do. So it's running, and now you have to choose the targets, right? Targets basically is this load balancer will target, it has to target some EC2s, right? So which EC2s should it balance across? So it will balance, like these are the EC2s across which the load will be balanced. So it will just choose these two things. It will include port is 8000, so we want to go with 8000 only. We'll include pending as below, pending below, so they come into pending state, and then we'll create. Okay, so let's see if it is up and running. So healthy 0, unhealthy low, total target, and it's probably like right now it is setting up. Health status is unused. It's setting up with the targets. So health check, let's see what's happening here. Health check, okay, monitoring. So it's unused right now. Let's see if there's some activity here. Okay, here also there is no activity coming in, so probably it's unused. Okay, it is not configured to receive traffic from the load balancer. That's totally fine. We have to now configure the load balancer. Now we come to the load balancer. We'll create a load balancer. So what do we want? We want an application load balancer or a network load balancer, like whatever you want. So let's go for application load balancer. We want HTTP and HTTPS traffic coming in. So we'll just create this. Load balancer name, what will be the load balancer name? It will be a application load balancer. Let's call it a application load balancer, application LB. It is internet facing, yes. IP address type IPv4. VPC is general, anything that we want, so we can just create, we can just allow 2 of them, and that should be good enough. And default security group, I'm not sure what is the permissions here, but yeah, let's have this. Listeners and routing. Okay, now listener is basically like what is the traffic that we'll receive. So we'll receive traffic in port 8000, and it will we will be forwarding it to the target group application TG, right? So anything like if we get a listener, like if we have a listener set up at this port, so whenever there's a whenever there is a request coming in at port 8000, like for 8000, it will be forwarding this to the application target group, and after that we'll just create the load balancer. Okay, and we'll view this. So it's provisioning, and what's the status of our target group? Let's see that as well. Total targets, and I'm not sure why is it not doing a health check. Oh, it's starting the health check now, initial. So it is it starts when you connect it to a load balancer. So yeah, it has started. We can actually monitor from here as well, like what is the requests that we are receiving. So probably we'll be receiving some requests here quickly. Anyways, let me know if you have some doubts still now, or if you have something. Also, I'll cover one more thing, like maybe like as long as it is in progress, maybe we can discuss about something else as well. Okay, let me know if you have some doubts. And meanwhile, what we'll discuss about is so when we created the second instance, it was a lot of work for us, right? So we had to create the instance, we had to clone the code, we had to like install Python, we had to install pip, we had to then start our service and everything. Like start our service is okay, like we can just start our service, that's fine. But we had to do all these things again, right? So this is kind of a repetitive work. So just imagine that you want to have 5 servers, so you have to do the same work 5 times, right? Or like we haven't created any virtual environment. Let's assume that if we had created some virtual environment, in that case we would have to create a virtual environment. We had to install virtual environment, we had to create a virtual environment, and it would have been it would have been a lot of work, right? So how we can minimize that? There are some ways to actually minimize that work. What we can do is we can select an instance, and from the actions, we can create an image and template. So we can create an image, or we can create a template. What is a template? Template will basically consist of what are the various resources that you have assigned. Like basically, when we created the second instance, we had to again go through all the steps, right? We had to select Ubuntu, we had to select the instance type, we had to select the settings, ip settings, to we had to enable IPv port address, we had to select the hard disk capacity, we had to select the key pair, everything, right? So if you don't want to do that, if you want to have a standard template altogether, you can just create a template from the instance, and every time a new instance is created, they will have the same settings as as given in the template. You can also create an image. A image will be a more detailed version of this template, where you have the, like, you have even, like, it will also contain the data that is like that you have, like, you have cloned the repository, so it will also be there, right? You have installed pip3, so it will also be there. So you can create these things, and you can easily launch templates out of these, right? So we can, like, just create a template, and it will tell you, like, a template name, then Amazon machine image is this one. If you want to use this image as the machine image, so we can create a new image. In fact, we can create a new image, and we can then create a template, right? So when you create an image, you don't create a template. So in an image, you cannot launch an instance directly. What you can do is you can go through the settings, and you can use that image. But with a template, you can launch the instance directly. So you can create an image and then attach this image to a template, so that will be much faster, right? So let's first create an image maybe. So we'll go to this instance, and let's go ahead with uh, images and templates, and create image. So we can give a image name and these things. So what do we want to give it? Everything we can give. So we can create a image name, that temp or application image, image description we don't need, reboot we don't need, and let's create the image. So it has created an image. Now what we'll do, we'll create a template, action, images and template. Is database stored by you sufficient for interview? Depends. Like, I think I've covered most of the things, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, like, you can just go ahead and read up some other articles or some other videos on your, in case I have missed something. But I don't think I've missed anything, so it should be sufficient. So application template. Okay. So this course is not exactly interview oriented. Like, I'm not teaching you for interviews. This is mostly like how to create your first application, or how to get into development. What are the various things that you might need to know, or will be a good thing to know. So those things. Auto scaling guidance we don't need. Version description we don't need that as well. Image, we can select our image. Custom value, AMI. What was the AMI created? I lost that, I believe. So I have to open a Ec2 instance in a new tab. Okay, so we have the AMIs here. So under images, you can go into AMI, and you have owned by me, and we have this. So we can just select this and create let's say we can create a Ec2 image as well. Like, we can launch a Ec2 instance from this image. It's loading right now, it's creating it right now, so we have to wait for some time maybe. Yes, it's waiting. Okay, meanwhile we'll go into the load balancer, we'll see what's happening. So it's active, awesome. And what about the target group? Target group will go into the target group. Okay, one healthy, one is unhealthy. Somehow one is unhealthy and one of them is healthy. Okay, application server is unhealthy, probably because I'm creating an image, so that's why maybe it has turned it down. Okay, it has closed somehow, but this is receiving get request. I have not made any request, but it is still receiving get request because there were health checks made, right? So one of them is active. See, it is also doing a health check repeatedly so that it will not route the traffic to a host that is unhealthy, right? So we have the load balancer. We can go into this one and we'll get the DNS name here. We'll get the DNS name, so we can go to this DNS and try this out, right? So we'll just go to this DNS and 8000/to-do. Okay, I think we haven't configured our security group properly, so it might not work. So we'll go into the security group. Let's check the security group. Okay, default security group and edit security group. So we'll have to check what is happening here. Save. I think we should take this one as our security group, the second one. So we'll save this, although we should ideally have created a new one, but again, like, that's fine. Now see, now if we are running, we are getting the answer like, hello, welcome to to-do app, right? So it's working fine, because like, and if you see, like, the request is coming to the first server, like the request is coming to the first server, that is this one, because this one has failed right now. It has stopped for some reason, probably for creating the image. So we'll just go back to what have I done? I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Is it running? Okay, it is running. Okay, let's go to the images once. Let's see if the image is ready. So we'll go into AMI. Okay, it is created, so we can launch an instance using this. So now see, you have to go through all the steps. Like, you have to select what is the, so base image is set, right? The base image is set. The image contains an upgraded version of the Ubuntu that we had. The base of that the image created, the base of the image is the Ubuntu machine that we had selected in the first step, and on top of that we had made some changes, like we installed pip and we have done some things, so those things will be added, but that's the base image, right? Now we can create a template. We can create an instance like this, or we can create a template as well. So instance state, and we can action, and we can create a template here as well. Create a template from the instance. So we'll call it a template, application template. We'll call it an application template. And yes, Amazon machine image, we can give it a specify a custom value, and under value we'll give it the AMI that we had created. So we'll go into the images. We have the AMI. What is the AMI ID? This is the AMI ID. So we'll just select this, copy this, and paste it here. Yes, and T2 micro. Yes, this looks fine. And key pair and MC, everything is you can set everything here as well. Security group. Let's select the security group that we want. So we want launch wizard 1. That's fine. And the tags are also same, so the tags also will be same. And we can key name application server. It's fine. Okay, add network interface instance specified together. Okay, so we have public IP enable. Okay, so we can create a launch template from this. Network interface instance level security. Where is instance level security? Where have I provided that? Oh, remove and instance level security. Have I provided that? I'm not sure. Let's see. Instance level. Oh, okay. We have given a security group at instance level. Okay, we should not give a security group. It should take the default one. So we'll just delete this one. Cool. And we'll create a launch template out of this. So successfully created this, and we can go into this and see if this is there. Okay, now we can create a action launch instance from template, and we can just have a new like we can just we have the image, everything, so we can just create a new instance quickly from here, right? So we can number of instances is 1, so we can quickly create an instance. Do we want to create one? Maybe let's create one from the template. So it's launching, and see, just one click and your template is ready to go. So it's pending right now, it's getting created right now with the same set of like whatever we had. Cool. So that's there. Okay, it's pending, so we'll also add this as our target, and first of all we'll SSH and see into this what are the different content here, and also we'll go into the load balance target group once. We'll see if the second one has become healthy or not. I don't think it is healthy right now. Okay, it is not healthy. Okay, that's fine. So application server, so it's also running right now. Okay, it's also running right now. I think this is the one which is unhealthy, so we'll just try to SSH into this. SSH 45. Let's see if we can. Okay, ls cd Django and 8000. Let's start our service. Okay, it has started the service, and after, just see, now it is getting the health checks, right? I have not made any request, but it is starting to get the health check, and see in some time, just after 5 requests, see what happens. So 2 of them, I'm not sure what the threshold is. I think it should be 5, but yeah, like let's see here, it should be still unhealthy. Okay, it's still unhealthy. So after 5 of them, it will mark it to be healthy. So we have to go here. So 2 of them has come till now. We'll wait for it. Okay, 3, 4, okay, meanwhile we'll just copy the IP for the other one, because maybe we'll have to check that as well. So I think this one was that. We copy the IP, and how many requests are here? Okay, 4 of them. Okay, let's SSH meanwhile into the other one. So cd downloads and SSH -i soham dot not this one, soham.pem, and ubuntu @ the IP. So we'll add this, yes, and let's see. Okay, let's go. Okay, 5 requests are here, so I believe it should have been made active right now. Let's see if it is made healthy. Okay, it's still unhealthy, so it might take some time. Okay, it's still referred to as unhealthy. Cool. Let's see how long it takes to mark it as healthy, but yeah, I believe soon enough. Cool. So here in the new instance, let's do a ls. So if you see, once we have done ls, we already, although it's a new instance, we haven't cloned the repository, we already have Django enabled here, right? It's Django is already running here. Let's see one more thing. Is pip there? Pip, I think, okay, I have, yes, pip is also there. See, pip is also there. So basically this is the work of image. Like it modifies like whatever settings you have done for your in your machine, you can create an image out of that, and you can use that image for your other machines, right? So that you don't have to do the same things again. So now I can just go to Django, and I can just run python manage.py run server 0.0.0.0.8000. I can just run this thing, and it has started my server, right? It has started my server. Let's go back to the target group. We'll see if it is marked as healthy. Okay, now see, both of them has been marked as healthy, right? Both of them has been marked as healthy, and if you see, like both of them are healthy. We'll register the third target as well. So we'll register target, and this is my third target that we have. So let's register this as well. Include pending as below, and let's register pending targets. Cool. So it's in initial phase. Now we'll look into the like what's happening in all of them. So if you see, like here also we have some traffic coming in, here also we have traffic coming in, and here also it will come. So it has also started coming here as well. So in all the 3 we have traffic coming in right now. So it will be balancing between these three, like when I send request, it will be coming in one of these EC2 instances, because there is the load balancer, and the load balancer not only like just routes the traffic to one of the EC2 instances, it also does things like health check, periodic health check, and those things. So it will also, it checks like which target it should send to. Like it there will be factors, like if a target has a lot of requests, it will not send request to that. It will try to distribute evenly across all the targets. So if you see, like here also requests are coming, here also requests are coming, here also requests are coming. So everywhere from in every place we have requests coming in, right? So this will also be marked as healthy within some time. So we'll just wait for that here and see if it's working. Okay, 3 healthy. So we have all the 3 of them healthy. Let's say I delete one of the instances. Let's say I stop one of them, right? Or delete one of them. Let's say I delete this, right? I'll just stop this one now. Stop instance. So I have stopped this, and it will automatically become unhealthy, because when it sends the health check request, it will fail and it will mark it to be unhealthy. So I'll just close this window, and it will no longer send any request to that server. So see, right now 2 healthy, 1 is unused. So it will because it has stopped, so it will be so target is in stopped state, so that's why it is unused. But if, let's say, if I had closed the application, okay, let's do that as well. As I have stopped in AWS, that's why it knows that the target is in stopped state. But let's say if I close this here, right? If I close it here, so in that case it will detect it to be unhealthy. And actually this is also good, like whenever you stop a instance, let's say you do, right now you don't need, but you can have because stopped instances will take much lesser cost than running instances, right? So if you keep the instances in stopped state, right, they will not incur to your cost. But whenever, let's say, your traffic is increasing or you are expecting a traffic increase, you can just start them, and the load balancer will automatically balance load across them. So that's also a good thing. So we have stopped, and we'll wait for this to complete. So right now both of them are healthy, but soon it will be marked as unhealthy. Okay, and cool. We'll wait for that. But let me know, do you have some doubts? If you have any problem or if you haven't understood something, let me know. So we are done with today's class. Like, this is what I wanted to cover today. So we are done with that. So let me know if you have some doubts. Or yes, now it is marked as unhealthy, and see, unhealthy is 1 because the service there has stopped, right? The service has stopped, so all the requests will be coming only in this one. Cool. I'll just stop all the instances. So you can stop instances, you can delete them, or you can terminate them, you can do everything, right? So I have terminated all the instances, and I'll also delete these things as well. And launch template also I'll delete it. Let me know if you have some doubts. So this is what I wanted to cover today. I believe, like, I think that you have understood, and if you haven't understood something, let me know. I can try to help you with that. So delete, yes, and target group also will delete. Cool. Let me know if you have some doubts or if I can help you with something. So this is what I wanted to cover today. So today we have learned about what EC2 instances are. We have created a EC2 instance. We have SSH'd into it. We have also deployed our application into the EC2 instance, and also on top of that we have done things like we have created images out of that, so that we don't have, like, first of all, we assigned public IP address, because assigned a elastic IP address, because public IP address will change once the instance is shut down. And again, like, we have also then looked into load balancers. We have created multiple instances, but creating multiple instances of same type might be painful and repetitive work. So for that we have launch templates, we have images, we have created both of them, and using those we created a new instance as well, and we saw that everything was like set like similarly as we had created the other ones. And after that we have also learned about how what are load balancers, how do we create load balancers, and we created target groups, and on top of that we created a load balancer that balanced the load between them. So that's what we have covered today. Let me know if you have some doubts. So just a reminder, like if you haven't joined with us in the Telegram, make sure you join there as well. And yes, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I'm coming live. And also, if you have liked this stream, if you have think that this was useful to you, or you have learned some new things, make sure you drop a like as well and share it with your friends so that they can also learn. And yes, with that brings to the end of our session. I don't think you guys have any question. I'll wait for maybe next 1 or 2 minutes to take some more questions, like if you have any. The stream was fun. Loved watching it. Thanks. It really means a lot, and I really like that you liked it. So try out. Like I would recommend try these things out on your own, because it will be fun. Like although you might be a bit worried, but just take a student's account. You don't have to give your credit card as well. So try these things out. It will be like more fun to like try these things on your own. You will learn a lot of things by trying them out. Cool, then we'll end this here today, and in the next class we'll be looking into one more AWS service which is called Cognito. Cognito, a brief about Cognito. Cognito is an identity service, identity provider. It like so we used till now we were using Knox authentication as our identity provider. Like it was authenticating using we were authenticating using Knox. But if you want a scalable solution for your authentication system, and if you don't want to manage it on your own, and if you want federated logins like login using Google, Facebook, these accounts, then you can try out Cognito as well. So we'll be learning about Cognito tomorrow, and there we'll be like setting up our authentication of our application using Cognito, and we'll see how can we do that. Cool, and thanks for joining in, and have a good night.